I'm also going to share a lot of tips and tricks that I do that help make my home cleanish. To do that, I want to go back to Greg McKeown. His first book, Essentialism, was life-changing for me. And it helps you truly understand for yourself what is essential and how to do away with the rest. This book made Greg famous. We were actually lucky enough to have him on the podcast last year. It was the biggest get I've ever had on this podcast. But in this book, Effortless, the book that followed Essentialism, Greg talked about what happened as he became really famous for this idea, and he went around the world talking about essentialism. He found people asking him this, and he also lived it himself. What do you do when what is essential is still too much or too intensive, and you still find yourself burnt out? Even if you're only prioritizing the most essential things, what do you do if that's still too much? And that's why he came up with the book Effortless, because even for himself, having a very full life, he found it impossible to do without burning out. So instead of tucking his tail and heading for the hills, I love that Greg proceeded with curiosity. And he really dug into, well, what do we do about this? Does this mean that I'm a fraud? That everything I talk about essentialism is basically useless advice? Instead, he learned how we can take what's essential and make it easier. So let's do that now for you. How can we make cleaning easier? Practically,